musidɗo Kadijatu jarama mi salmini Mr Sagnang o jeeyɗo G Farms mi salmini kadi ɓe groupe immoɗo Ministry of Agriculture Permanent Secretary Director General sa here Deputy Permanent Secretary ɓe fof min aruɗo hande yigol o golle mo anduɗa Mr Sagnang no wadde ɗum Sambuya ɗo mais yeyto poultry farm makko to omo jogui guertode ko ɓuuri guluuje 40 poultry farm makko on is automated mo heɓay ɓoccode ko ɓuuri craigji wulure ko fawi ñalande goto kala ñalande o heɓay craigji ɓuuri wulure kanko kadi mo jogui dulaɗo anduɗa ɓe fusay ɓoccode ɗe waɗa ɗum ɓiɓɓe ɓoccode ɗe ɓe heɓay ha ɓiɓɓe guluuje 400 400,000 ɗum ɗon a yiyay kala gambiyan faalaɗo wadde poultry no wawi arde ɗo soda ɗo ɓiɓɓe ɓen o fuɗɗo poultry kono kadi min ari min yeehi darugol nayi ɗin min komi gaynako komi anduno litre ji ɗiɗi ko ɗumen heɓata e nagge kono hande ɗo ɓe holli min nagge kala heɓa litre ji 25 ta daari 20 litre gallon plus e 5 litre nagge kala everyday ñalande kala ɗum ɗon ko golle tigui ko addi men ɗo hande ko ɗum woni min ara min daara golle ɗe ɓe woni e wadde kono kadi min daara honɗum woni caɗele mabɓe te caɗele mabɓe ɗe min tawi ɓe heeɓi caɗele fi yeeyugol ɓoccode iworoje ɗen leyɗele goɗɗe ɓe waɗa ɗumen dompe marché en kamɓe ɓoccode mabɓe ɗen te ko ɗen ɓuuri moƴƴude kadi te ɗe a fresh ɗen ɓuuri sellude kono ɓe horima ɗe wawa yeeyude kadi hay ɓiraɗan ko ɓe ɓirata ɗo joɗoto ɗo haray ɓe heɓani no ɓe yeeri ɓiraɗan mabɓe ɗum ɗon noon mino andi ko wasde tinede sino tina yimɓe hewɓe no yiiɗi ɓiraɗan iwɗan Gambia kono a tawa e laamu ɗum minen min hibbitoɗo min jooɗo minen e technicien ji amen ɗi min feeja feerele hono min wallirta sukaɓe waaɓe no Mr Sagnang e team makko because si min wawi wallude Sagnang e Gambian ɓe woɓɓe buyi a tawa e Gambia joni waway joganade hoore makko nguure makko ɓeɗo si wallama ɓoccode iwata leydi wondi ɓeɗo si wallama milk product ɓiraɗam iwata leydi wondi si Gambian goɗɗo kadi wallama e sengo wongo a taway ɓoyata en waway ñamminde ko e men komin yiiɗo ko hande no weeli men te kadi min darto ballal kamin wallunomo min darto min wallamo kadi te kadi min walla e Gambian ɓe hewɓe kono Gambian ɓe anda no jogui fere no jogui mbuuɗi kala ɓe ƴetta haalis mabɓe ɓe wiya ko galleji ɓe darnata étage 20 million 30 million sa ƴetti 20 million maɗa on a nattinimo e ndema a fuɗɗoto heɓde profit e nder hitande wotere te ko ɗon mbuuɗi ɗin ɓuuri hewde te kadi ko ɗon ɓuuri hewde weltare te kadi Gambian mbuyi heɓa e golle heko waɗɗa kon te Gambian mbuyi si heeɓi golle ko ɗum ɓuuri nafude leydi ndi dan darna étage goto million ji nogas a taway hay Gambian ƴettali toon golle te kadi a taway ƴettaymo duuɓi sappo duuɓi noga ɗo a fuɗɗo heɓude profit sa
joma bitiki on harano yoɓa luwas o ala hay marsin
woɓɓe ɓen yoɓa luwas woɓɓe ɓen yoɓata luwas adda e probléme kono sa nattini agriculture ɗo ko gollata ɗo ko yimɓe temelle ɓe sooday o ɗumaɗi guerte on pour ñammingol nayi ɗi ɗum no walli remoɓe ɓe sooday masare on tubaño ɗum kadi no walli remoɓe ɓe sooday oyster sel on ɓe rewɓe waɗoɓe oyster farm ji on ɗum kadi no walli ɓen rewɓe so a taway ɗum no lanci he nder économie Gambia he fof so ko agriculture rek jogui on impact andi a waɗi 1 million a waɗay impact yimɓe temelle so jomaɓe jawdi ndi leydi mi yi noon hewɓe fuɗɗima nattude agriculture Sagnang no natti hen minen hen welti enen fof en yi Dia no natti hen he hewɓe kono min faala kala wonɗo jooma mbuuɗi he ndi leydi o natta e affaire demal because si en natti affaire demal Gambia wawa ñamminde hoore mum keɓal men ngal ɓeydoto ɓiɓɓe Gambia buyi heɓa e liggey te ko ɗum woni legacy issue his excellence o wi kala waktu mo o ñande o fotoyto laamu yo foto yo tawta Gambia wawi ñamminde hoore makko ɗum ko legacy he makko kanko ɗum koko miiji tigui te ɗum no tampinimo ɗum si heɓike hare hakkille makko waalima nden Mouhamed ko watta kon min faala sukaɓe Gambia buyi ɓe ñi'a ɗum ɓe waɗa ko Mouhamed watta kon jomaɓe haalis yoɓe yi ko watta kon ɓe ñi'a ɗum ɓe waɗa ko on watta kon nafa e leydi on fof
jongama ɓaagi hawri ɗo toon ɓeyɗa ɗon seeɗa rek hara mi ɗaɓɓitoyanima OIC midi noon ara joni honɗum wajjotoɗa Gambien men surtout laɓɓingol sarete
well OIC ko ben mo anduɗa ko jomaɓe leyɗele président ji prime ministre ji ko ɓuuri 57 arta ɗo mais 4 he 5 ko ase he dimanche komin haalanta Gambian fof ɗum ɗo ko programme Gambia wona programme président Barrow wona programme laamu ko programme Gambia fof nden kala Gambian daroɗa huma keesima taweɗa he programme no tawirteɗa toon ko ɗum woni laɓɓinen saare men nden because koɗo si ari his excellence haali ɗum hanki si koɗo ari a wawamo haɗu yiwgol a wawamo haɗu nanugol so si tawi noon ɓe yiyay nden yoɓe yiw ko laaɓi so kala wonɗo gambian o daro andamal ma galle ngal laɓɓina ɗo tali on wota weddo ton hay hunde sa yi hunde no leeli sikken laɓɓinen saare men nden haysi wona purpose of OIC en fotu laɓɓinde saare men nden sakka noon hoɓɓe tedduɓe hoɓɓe guluje no ara saare ɗo ma daroɗen waɗen feere ta saare men nden no laaɓi te kadi waɗen feere ta ala ko waɗi ko bonnata inde saare nden he on ɗon time fanni kibaruji ɗin media house ji aduna ɗin fof ɗi wonay ɗo so enen fof waɗen ko andira Gambia ɗum woni hospitality moƴƴanen hoɓɓe ɓen ko ɗum ɗon woni komin wajoto ko atelo mu G Farms la manajati anala timole bijang ntendi na timole nata from Ministry of Agriculture nga menje jambiya en tol sewole baake wala nga Gambia fondin kewle je mi alon ko a teo sitile abe wakilrin dokola ntata la poultry farm otole nga jele is automated is modern mbota je nga jele aka kilol se teyno dame ka ke sise ringolti pour Gambiano momo lafita ka ke poultry farmati ise dunnoje andungo ayoke men kama wolem pour poultry se fanuno nyamen mbota je natala ni si malandi dulato ntol ngin sol men je jang ngamira naman ke janti ka nyi sifal je Gambia a mansia nabe dulado to fanan nin so mealon asitano fo kilo keme woro fo kilo wili killing nin si killing o wo mansia nin so mealon ko ase litar muani lulu sotono lungo kono ni abiti litar muani lulu woni si sifa mansia woto mbe men fola bawo di amon bare na dan la laro bita dame wolem Gambia fondin kewol mol se nyim fondin ke sifal jube inyase boy fe isalon ko ise keno senelati wara Range Rover be bulu ise keno senelati wara emu million yalti ndun seno doron nom ise keno nafultiyote mi alon ko akkontano le warta dina nafulo do beti ni keta nafultiyoti seno kono a jusulale warta wo naful dol beti because ifango ka jele aka yiriwa e nyala adun ika musol le sementu ya ika fondinke le sementu ya woto men fula nafultiyole wolom jannimbe na kodol tala mbabe kala kene sangolti ka fence walla ka etasol lo mi alon ko Gambia dingolte do ko sot laje andu ama economy nyi famo mako e baake ilaw million muango million tansabo na ya dundi seno kono ko sanya nyoli yake nyame ni oke ebe Gambia din jamalle tala dokola ebe musu jamalle tala dokola andu ngamenje jangolem yaje nyinti akalo aka san senela lebul so ay wol yiri wandile aka tuwanyo san senela lebul ay wol fanala ko yiri wandile aka oyster sales sol aka san muso lebul melka oyster kunkol nyil dada ay wol fanala ko yiri wandile hani melbe pengurola wol be mu veterinary la moledi so ibaje la ay fondinki jamalle ta do ko la jang ay musu jamalle ta do ko la jang mais wo sa bolem abe senole bundato abe agriculture le kono bare na Sénégal na nafultiol mbe dani la menna wala mu nganna nafulol ta nga dundi agriculture kono abe economy bele nafala alhamdulillah nak of recent nga jele nafultiol banko kan ye nyatelin senolale Mohamed sa nyanyol siva be siakane para ngajele jañol sifa ani modol ni modol e dunta senola kuoto le sañ woto mbela filale woye lafa because wole be Gambia nafala His Excellency President Barrow la legacy movement ako janni abe dahala mansa ala lumena aye daha wara Gambia sa fan dañini no at least nim tol tembe tawto men la taw kan ni dol nata wol fana se continuer wala bari na fan dañino nimma o soto non fangoli woto manna banko fango soto no hani kabi woto ngamira atela nyimmu ala legacy isuleti woto fonninkewol lese wo timmandino woton lafita Gambia fonninkewol be isi na jam fan ye Mohamed je ye karanga bulu ya understand e tol be munela jang how can they get involved na fultiol melbe nyin jibela mbe encourage la ye na G Farms jang let them learn from Mohamed and the team isa lom nyilbe minela e isa je fanal se dunnoje seno da wartale mbe nin solle to jang mbota nang poultry le to ku jamalle bije mel si senono mani seno bijele kasu seno yiro lem ise memmen seneno nyim banko kan waran tolde na ko do tala ka bondina wandi banko kan abena economy le la fala woto nganda timo nyin nimbara bake nga Mohamed la timo nimbara GRTS ngal nimbara and everybody mel nata jang bare na propose nyim momentino wolem exposo pour Gambia no saje membe keri jang pour asi nyaabo ifanal sake fula nyango wolom ngana jangalo munem ila bata dati ila bata dadu nga sutele nga kalamutale wolom ila wafiro problème o ni 6 kilol soto wili wilol abuka wafino ni ela nin sol biti litar keme kemol abuka wafino nyimbe me wo sabu wolem nga menka bonam bantala ay maketo nyim flodle so ni aran nga wakala muta ntel ni natimo man sakunda mbitale nga si nga strategize mbe mune kela waya taran tolla industries na Gambia dingol be men gor kan amman fa amman kanantol bulu mbe mun lodula leta la pour men satina ila wafiro ay sahayandi anu fana ika bagasol men la kuofo ila si c'est domorol ni kudol mbelor la men tala fo ila o sise domorol mel yalon ko fango ben tolle ko do onda jiji si hata tara ye walo so do jele me yalon ko wote finti la banko kan wata o nyanta ke lay to la nyanto leti senela gambia senela la nyanto leti wo e tara jang ba fana ka sanne ko dol ka san nyame wodo nga wa finna molma wo mun to la priority leti.
Yeah, it started with the humble beginning of our CEO, Mohamed Sanyang, who is the current CEO and the co-founder of this establishment. It started way back when he was going to school, when he used to have his own school lunch. So he gathered it and then do some small side hustle where he gathers chickens, 1 or 2 chickens. So he started with 5 chickens at home, then expanded to 300, 1,000, and then to a more bigger space. Then from here, that's where we started renting from different places. Then we acquired this place like 10 years ago. So that's from there we've expanded to more of from only poultry to on another sector as dairy and even feed mill as well. Currently we have over 100 employees. We really appreciate him coming here and it's an honor to have him here visit us. And then as our line minister, we see much of a difference that will happen from this visit because he is the one that can relate to the problems that we face and he will relate to things that we are doing here and he will understand more of what the things that we are doing here. So whenever we speak out and voice out our challenges that we have, to him he knows directly what he's facing because he himself is a farmer. So he knows what we are facing and then he can do things about it which within his own capacity because we are in the same, under his ministry. Yes. We have trained a lot of youths which have, ones that have owned their own farms now and we still training more youths here. So here you could see that we have a lot of youths that are here, a lot of women as well. And then we always try as much as possible to retrain because we don't see the poultry industry as building our own capacity only. But we want to see the sustainable business where it employs a lot of Gambians as much as possible. So and then in this fight to see that there's no much of an import coming to the country, we need a lot of farmers in the sector. So that's why we always try as much as possible to train a lot of youths in this sector. Yeah, you know, Gambia being a country where we really heavily depend on imported ones because of the prices that so it gives us a challenge in the sense that whenever we produce, we have to face the imported ones because the imported, it accounts for more than 95% of what the products we produce in the country. For example, taking the eggs, 95% of it comes from outside. So and then they are cheaper, and whereas they are much not healthy compared to what we have, the sizes are the ones we produce are much more bigger. So, but people prefer cheaper prices, even knowing that we have the ones we have are much more better. So, but we can compete with them because producing here locally sometimes it's hard compared to what they're getting from because they're getting much more incentive from the other government. So they can produce at a lower cost, or sometimes the byproducts or those products that probably they don't need will ones that we just flood into our markets here. So that means we can compete with those things. So those are the challenges we face. And when it comes to funding, it's as the poultry industry and the agricultural industry, you need a lot of funding to get some establishments. For example, building a poultry house, it has a lot of funding you have to do, whereas you do not realize the profit from there at that moment, but you use it as a way of getting to another step that is producing chickens in that house. So that means you always have to have funding. That way we can employ a lot of youths as well, and then increase our sales and increase our capacity. Because the more capacity we have, the more we're able to meet the national demand in the country, and the more employment is created as well. Humble, I would say that most of it is from our own investments, whereas government do support, but at some extent. And we are really appreciative of what will happen. Some of this from this giraffe project, we have benefited from it. So those are things that, if they are possible, could always help us grow bigger. But most of the funding that we did on our own by our own selves. Yes.
So what are you advising youths over there?
What the advice I would give to youth is just to believe in themselves. I know that that you can make it here in the Gambia. You do not have to have the stigma of, if I don't travel or if I don't leave the country, I will never make it in the country. It depends on how you start and how you program yourself, and believe that things are possible here. So, and then we should not shy away from doing things that we think are not, we don't think that these are things we should not be doing. Example, seeing someone going around selling eggs, we see that something, but the more you grow, the more you move away from it. So now we even have people that are doing the delivery, doing other things as well. And those are things that we should really encourage our Gambians to do. Let them start humbly and make sure and believe in themselves that we can make it here, because we've grown this thing into a much bigger thing now.
Thank you to my team here from the Ministry of Agriculture. livestock and, of course, food security. And thanks to Mr. Sanyang and his entire team here at G Farms. Today, we are here in somewhere to visit the young man and his team, who is very, very industrious. We are more than impressed. Actually, we are surprisingly impressed with what we have seen here. We started our tour with the poultry site. We've seen very, very modern, automated egg production site, of course, for his layers. We've also seen his hatchery, where he has the capacity to produce over 400,000 chicks. This is sufficient to cover the entire country as far as our chick demands are concerned. We've also visited his feed mill, where he's going to produce feed, not only for the chicken, but also for the animals. And this has the capacity to expand to other farmers in the whole country. And of course, finally, we came to see the dairy cattle. This is very, very impressive. When we were young, cattle hardly produce more than 2 liters per cow. To hear that they're getting about 25 liters per cow, that's more than impressive. So I think given this entire value chain, he's buying the hay from the farmers, he's buying the shells, the oyster shells, mainly from our women oyster producers. He's buying corn from our farmers. So he has expanded the value chain of both the chicken, that is the poultry value chain, and also the dairy cattle. So what we've seen here is a young Gambian who is very industrious. And the purpose of our visit here is to create that exposure and also understand their challenges. The exposure is going to motivate a lot more other young Gambians. Gambians with money can understand that getting into agriculture is the fastest, most dependable, surest, and happiest way to be a wealthy man. And I think people with money need to learn that instead, I've said this before, I'll repeat it again. Instead of spending 20, 25 million and building one-story building for rent, which will take you another 20, 30 years to recoup profit, you spend that 20, 30 million dollars invested into agriculture. You will employ 200, 300 Gambians, like we have seen all these employees here. You will generate wealth for this nation. You will empower a lot of young people. You will empower a lot of women. So he is an example. We've seen this before in Tanje with the young guy in cashew. We've seen him now in dairy and in poultry. And this is what we want to see. A lot of young Gambians, let them get inspired with the story of Muhammad. As a government, we have identified their challenges. And one of the issues that we have identified mainly here is marketing. Because they have problems selling their eggs. They have problems even selling their milk. This is something that as policymakers, we go back to the drawing board. How do we empower our local industries? We are not anti-import or anti-business. We are aware of all the international regulations that govern businesses. But that said, protecting our local industry is a must and a priority for His Excellency President Adama Barrow. And I think when we go back, we are going to inform him of the realities on the ground. And then as a government, we will do the best for our people. I mean, also part of their challenges, apart from the marketing, is the issue of feed. They have trouble getting enough corn, and they also have challenge even getting all the other ingredients. I think I'm here with my team from agriculture. We are going to sit down, re-examine the maize value chain itself. And I know for the past 2 years, we've been distributing a lot of maize seeds nationwide at no cost by the projects. All was geared towards increasing maize production and productivity. That way we can supply our local demand. But also the groundnut cake on the National Food Security Processing and Marketing Corporation, formerly called GGC, they've complained that most of the cake will be sold outside of the country, and they are struggling. These are things within our capacity, is within the Ministry of Agriculture. We will provide them a quota. We will provide a quota for our Gambian farmers. And with all these other guys in the value chain, we will make sure there's a quota provided for them so that our businesses do not suffer, so that they have enough to feed our small ruminant or feed our dairy cattle, but also for the chicken feed. So the purpose is to identify their challenges and also see where our policies can help them. G-Farm has benefited before from our projects. And we are very impressed that the people who benefited from our support have put it to good use. And this was the main reason why the Giraffe Project worked very hard for a matching grant. And we intend to see other matching grant beneficiaries do the same thing or even better. And also we intend to work with the World Bank and African Development Bank as a government to expand these matching grants, because we have seen the impact. When you support these young Gambians into the private sector, their productivity is very, very high. And if we can have a multiple of this type, I think the country will very soon be self-sufficient, which is the ultimate legacy priority for His Excellency President Barrow.